1 in every 3 Nigerians have plans to migrate out of the country. The reason is not far-fetched. The song on the lips of everyone is insecurity of their lives and properties, dilapidated economy, corruption, and terrorism. The havoc being wreaked by rebellious individuals is deadly across everywhere in the country. Insecurity in Nigeria is backed by corruption and corrupt people in every sector. Inactive leaders have also contributed much to the escalation of social vices in the nation. Now, many northerners have fled their homes to take refuge in IDP camps and neighboring countries. Kidnapping, the new booming business in the nation, has arrested the interest of many as top and average individuals are being kidnapped for ransom. In tense situations, human tends to resort to fights. Different sects now sprout from every corner of the country in means to protect themselves and their loved ones. Illegal arms are also now domestic commodities. But before we go into to look at some of the perspectives around this issue, let's take a look at this report by our reporter, Chijoke Okafo.
The essence of this procession and this gathering is to protest and to show our anger and our unhappiness with the way things are going in this country, security-wise.
Road transport is the most commonly used form of transportation in Nigeria. It is important and cheap, and most citizens rely on it to move from city to city and from state to state. The primary means of transportation in Nigeria, roads, convey more than 80% of all traffic in the country. Expressways connect the major cities and the rural areas. With insecurity on the rise, motorists ply these roads with fear of the unknown.
The belief of Nigeria is whatever happened, they normally say from God. If not, really the road is not safe. Because our security, we have inadequate security on this road. Because our drivers normally complain. Either when you move from here to Jere, you see army checkpoint. From you, before you reach Kaduna, you saw nothing. So that's what normally our drivers normally complain.
Even with the availability of trains to convey passengers from Abuja to Kaduna, most people would rather travel by road. However, frequent cases of bandit attacks and abductions have become a major source of concern for motorists, as the assurance of getting to their destination safely is not guaranteed.
I feel insecure sometimes and bad, and our government, they are not really helping at all. Because sometimes the kidnapping, the stealing and everything that's been going on in the road, the government are not really helping. They say security is on the road, but sometimes when those things are actually going on, you can't find any security nearby to come to the citizen aid, which is very bad.
Some members of the NURTW here in Zuba have expressed deep concerns and dissatisfaction over the unending cases of attacks by bandits on the expressway. Most of them say they have been neglected and abandoned by the government and security agencies to protect themselves from the deadly armed men.
We manage this with all prayers. With prayers, everything possible. That we don't have security personnel along us with our drivers. What I will tell the Mr. President is that being as a citizen, number one citizen in Nigeria, you have to put more effort for this road because of all these bandits.
This is the Abuja-Kaduna highway, and it is also the road leading to Zaria, Kano, and other parts of northern Nigeria. This is the Yuletide season, and a lot of Nigerians are taking the risk to ply this road. No one knows for certain when the issues of kidnappings, banditry, and killings along this highway will end, but the populace are optimistic that the menace will soon be tamed. From the Abuja-Kaduna highway, Chijoke Okafo, TrustTV News.
All right, and now to give us perspectives on this, we have a security consultant, Stephen Okori, here in the studio with us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
All right, now, quite a lot, I mean, from our newspaper reviewer that we just had, raised some concerns, that looks like Nigeria seem to be in like a conundrum right now. We have people in places of authority that are supposed to ensure the safety of Nigerians. But even when they fail in delivering that, nothing seems to be happening. Do you share in that thought?
Very well. I share in the thought because we should be able to take responsibility for our actions or inactions. While we are failing, we should take responsibility, and the people that have hired us to do such jobs should also penalize us for failing in our responsibilities. Situations where people are not penalized, it doesn't serve as deterrent to people that are still not performing the task that they are given to do. So I share in that thought. When you fail in your responsibilities, is either you are penalized or fired, so that when other people come on board, they will live up to their responsibilities to say that the job is done.
Okay. Now, in recent times, we've seen, outcry from the public. Just of recent, we've seen on social media the hashtag North is bleeding, and even coming out to protest, the insecurity situation in the country. Do you think this is going to change anything for Nigerians?
First of all, I want to say that it is important as citizens we will begin to look at for how to take care or take charge of our own personal security beyond what the government is doing. Whether we like it or not, personal security is a very important factor in determining the safety of people at any given time. But you see, we have this mindset that nothing can happen, forgetting that even people that are victims, they have also that same mindset that nothing can happen to them. So it's important for us to see how to put some of these personal security measures in place beyond what the government is doing, so that we can, because as it is, personal security for yourself and your loved ones and family members, it's very important now at this point in time.
So when you talk about personal security, to what degree or to what extent can Nigerians actually protect themselves?
Okay.
Because most times when we say things like that, it looks like, all man for himself. I mean, to your tent or Israel.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. So, to what extent can Nigerians actually, protect themselves? What can they do at their level?
Okay. See, there are certain things that we do, knowingly or unknowingly, that gives us up to, for instance, to kidnappers. I say, for instance, you go to the social media and you publicize yourself, your activities and all that. If you have a party in your house or something and you post it on the social media, you know how far such information can go. And you don't know who's even watching the social media and watching you. So you are giving up yourself and your loved ones, to kidnappers. They can become your guests if they watch such things on the social media. So there's need for us at this critical time to live a low-profile life, a moderate life. You don't show all that anymore. There's no need. We don't live in the safest of Nigeria. Right. So I want to say that prevention is better than cure. So when we avoid certain things, like for instance, you go to a public place and you begin to make phone calls that has to do with financial transactions, and you begin to make those calls and forgetting that there are certain people around you.
Yeah, but we've seen cases where bandits attack and kidnap people who are not even, they don't even look like money anywhere. They don't even look like they have a lot of money, yet they are targets. Some of these villages that can barely even afford 3 square meals. So what do you say about that?
Yeah, you see, these bandits we're talking about, there are some of them that go very low as that, picking people from villages and local communities. Depending on the amount of money they get. It could be 10,000, it could be 20,000 at that particular point in time. So I'm looking at it holistically, where certain issues like that or challenges can be avoided if we try to put certain personal security measures in place. So that's the angle I'm coming from.
Okay. Now let's quickly take a look at the video, about the North is Bleeding protest. And when we come back, you're going to be reacting to that.
Okay.
Look.
Everyone in this country, regardless of where you come from, is aware of the nature of security of Nigeria, and people are aware that nobody is sleeping with his 2 eyes closed right now, and then nobody is doing anything. Our leaders don't seem to care. They seem to care more about book lounge and some other things that are not important security-wise, and that is why we are here to call on these guys We are the electorate. We are the one that send them over there. They're supposed to be our own slaves and our own servants. We should be the sovereign. The sovereign ones. Constitution of Nigeria conferred sovereignty on the people of this country.
We are objecting to the inaction of the government. You know, we all know that loss of life, property, and things related to that become bushfire effect in Nigeria.
We are protesting against the deterioration of insecurity, not only in northern Nigeria, but Nigeria as a whole. Unfortunately, we have come out to protest, but the Commissioner of Police sent his people to stop us, which actually we are not happy, because we know, based on the provision of the 1999 Nigerian constitutions and the other international laws and conventions, we have every right as civilized and law-abiding citizens to come out and protest without even getting the permission of the Commissioner of Police.
Now, contrary to what the protesters are saying, the governor of Katsina State has a different view as far as these issues of insecurity is concerned. Take a listen.
If we are talking about the issue of banditry, certainly we have seen some improvements. When we had a comparative analysis before the issuance of the security containment order, what we saw in 3 months when we compared, we saw a drastic drop of over 100% in terms of the rates of kidnappings, killings, and the associated crimes with banditry. So the incidents we had last week had nothing to do with banditry attack. It was purely an assassination by unknown killers, which the police and other security agencies are working around the clock to unravel what had happened, because he was killed, my commissioner was killed by an unknown assassin, and not a single pin was stolen in his house. So you could see that this was a pure crime that has to be investigated for us to know the root causes and why and who.
Well, there you have it, the governor of Katsina State, Bello Masari, with his own thoughts, as far as the fight against insecurity is concerned. But let me throw it to our guest in the studio. Do you think that we are taking the right steps? I mean, I've asked this question for like the umpteenth time now. Are we really taking the right steps, in addressing this issue?
Yes. I want to say that we are taking the right steps. But in taking the right steps, the application matters. Are we really applying the steps we are taking? Because when we talk about taking the right steps now, if we have the hardware, ammunitions, weapons, and all that, it's the right step. We have the personnel. Yes. Now, applying the steps is the issue. Do you have the adequate manpower to take out or carry out these tasks? How well are we applying it? So, for the right steps, yes. But the application for me is a problem. So, there's need for us to look at it, appraise whatever they've been doing, to see if the application is really reading results. So for me, I think that there's need for all the relevant agencies to see how to go back to the drawing board.
Okay, so could you talk to us, about the role, corruption has to play in all of this?
You see, corruption has a huge role to play. You see, it's very disheartening to see past service chiefs being tried by the EFCC or the ICPC. For very recently I saw where a former chief of army staff he's been tried for corruption charges to the tune of about 14 billion naira. These are monies meant for arms and ammunition. We are seeing in this country where fake bullets and all that were imported under a former chief of army staff. So all this boils down to corruption. So even the late Badi, he was being tried for corruption charges before he died. So it affects the whole process, because when these monies that are being released are not judiciously used for the purpose that they are being released, it affects the whole exercise.
Yeah, so, I mean, being tried is one thing,
yes,
you know, on the one hand, but securing conviction is also another thing on the other hand. So, with all the trials that we have been seeing of these people, it still doesn't seem to be stopping corruption. You know, we have, for instance, also the National Assembly that is supposed to play that check and balance, you know, on the executive arm and even, you know, the military and all of that. But we are also hearing that they themselves, the Auditor General, for instance, is uncovering multi-billion naira fraud in the National Assembly, you know, spendings and all of that. So where does that leave Nigerians? The person who is supposed to watch, you know, others is also culpable of the issues that we are looking at. So how do we really deal with this thing, this corruption?
You see, corruption in Nigeria has become cancerous. Very, very, very cancerous that it will be very difficult for it to heal, no matter how you want to go about it. We have all these institutions that they have put in place to see how to curb or reduce the rate it goes. But even amongst the institutions that saddle the responsibility of doing what we are talking about, even amongst themselves too, they are even culpable. Imagine EFCC being found wanting in his or her duties, ICPC as well and all that. So for me, as far as they are Nigerians and they are in this system, I think that it's a very difficult task to see how to, no matter how you want to go about it. If you bring certain measures that will checkmate, they try to see how to derive other means of trying to steal this money.
I mean, so when you think about policies like the single treasury account,
yes,
you know, when you think about such policies, you think that in fact people were applauding and you know, commending the president.
Yes.
But it appears that you know, some public officials have found their way around it. That's to circumvent the process.
Exactly.
So is corruption now unstoppable?
You want me to say yes to that? If you want me to say yes, yes. If you want me to say yes to that, I will say yes. It's unstoppable. As we speak, there are people that are thinking of how to steal. There are deriving means on how to go about it. So it's endemic, and it's a worrisome situation.
So what are the approaches of ending this?
Right.
Sorry?
What approaches do we adopt if the ones we've used are not working?
Now, I think that the justice system in trying to see how to convict people that are already in court, it's very slow. So it doesn't even serve as deterrent to people that are even in the system of trying to steal or are already stealing, or potential people that want to come and steal. The system is weak. The justice system is very, very weak and very slow. You can't be trying somebody for alleged corruption. You have like almost 10 years going. Look at, what's her name, Dizani. They keep recovering her looted stolen funds. But where is she today? If the government can go and extradite, what's his name, Abdurrashid Maina, what's stopping the government from extraditing Dizani from wherever she is to come and face charges? And wasn't it? Even we citizens, we even celebrate these people that even steal. You know, I'm sorry to say, what's his name? James Ibori. He was convicted in the UK. He served jail term. But when he returned back to Nigeria, what happened? It was a Thanksgiving in church. So, what are we saying?
Is it because of poverty? Or why are people, you know, celebrating these kind of people?
Is the governor of Delta State, is he poor? But he set up a committee to welcome him. They even wore a uniform to celebrate him during Thanksgiving. So this is the part, I don't want to even talk about it. In other countries, other climes, we see where people are jailed, killed for corruption charges when they find them guilty. But we are celebrating them here. Before Mena was caught and sentenced to jail, I was listening to him on this, what do you call this radio program, Ahmed Issa. That is whatever program that he does, Brekete Family. He was given the opportunity to call one time like that and come and hear what he was saying, as if he was innocent. But come, look at the outcome. So it's a very worrisome situation. We celebrate criminals in this country, people that steal public funds that is meant for this country to be fixed. So we still have part of the blame for celebrating them. And you see, one of the reasons I feel causes this is that when somebody is given an opportunity to come and serve in whatever position and the person doesn't steal, if the person leaves office, the citizens or his people will begin to say that something is wrong with him. He was made minister for 4 years. He went in the way he went in, that was how he came out. So you want to steal, you know, so that you won't be insulted, you know. So even the followers too.
Okay, so
aid such.
Talking about our judicial system, there are those who are saying that, look, this our principle of innocent until proven guilty is part of the problem with the judicial system.
I agree with
Why
that.
don't we have a policy that suggests, look, you are guilty until proven innocent, which is, you know, the other way around.
Yes.
Do you think that we should perhaps consider that?
Very well. But in doing that, who are the people that are supposed to do it? Members of the National Assembly. But if you go to the Senate now, majority of them has issues with cases to answer in court. And people like that are in the National Assembly making laws. So imagine a member of the National Assembly raises a motion and say, if you have a corruption case against you in court, you shouldn't aspire for any elective position. With such a motion or bill, will it fly? No. It will fly. Because majority of them have issues in the court. So they will kill it. So that's another angle to it. But I am in support that if you have issues with the Nigerian state bordering on corruption in court, they shouldn't even think of giving you a form. INEC should just disqualify you from that point. But people will begin to say that you are stampering on their rights.
So in your opinion, what aspect of the Nigeria's judicial system needs a kind of reformation, overhaul?
All. Because the cases, they are in stages. From the state high court to the federal high court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. So I feel all the stages have issues. They need to be over. They need to do something very drastic about it. You cannot have issues bordering on corruption from the state high court to the Court of Appeal or from the federal high court to the Court of Appeal to Supreme Court, and you will take like a whole number of years that you can't. So imagine how long it took Dare's case and Jolly Jame before they were sentenced to jail. Over 10 years. Why? Something is wrong. So where are the issues? We should rise to the occasion. We should rise up to the occasion and see that these things are dealt with.
All right. What are the lessons for Nigerians to learn, as far as this issue is concerned? Because some have faulted the issue of the electioneering process in Nigeria as one of the major problems why we are unable to get it right. We do not elect leaders that have the interests of the people at heart. So what can the people do on their part in ensuring that people that are credible, that have integrity, occupy public offices?
Do they have any say? I heard you talking about, your last guest talking about direct and indirect primaries. When you put it at direct primaries, you have reduced the number from the larger population that are supposed to choose who they want from that primary level, handpicked people that they call delegates into a secluded or whatever place for them to choose. Meanwhile, the larger population are outside. So they don't participate at that primary level to choose who they want. So these people that we don't want buy their way because they have the wherewithal to pay delegates to enable them have the ticket at the end of the day. So from that level, we have started seeing issues. So I feel that the larger population should choose who they want.
Some are saying that that's not where the problem is really. I mean that the problems are more attitudinal than this, issues with laws.
Yes, it's attitudinal because the political class have impoverished the general public. So when they give them stipends, they end up giving their votes to them. So at that level, they need to have change of attitude. But are they willing to have change of attitude? When they're interested in, they will tell you that I want to collect my own now. Because when the person leaves and gets to his office, they won't see him anymore. So they are interested in getting, but I am very happy that I saw a lady during the Anambra election where she was offered 5,000 naira and she declined, that she wanted to vote for who she wanted. And she voted for the ABUJA candidate or so. And the governor came out to reward her with a sum of 1 million naira or something. So if we have people like that that would decline monetary inducement, and say, okay, I want to vote my conscience. Because from what we are saying, it's as if the votes are counting now, because I've seen where ABUJA, that is perceived to be an Eastern party, winning elections even in the northern states, So the votes are counting. So if we change our attitude and say, no, we don't want this monetary inducement anymore, we want to vote for candidates of our choice, I think we'll see how to make ends from there.
Okay. Now let's quickly take a short break, and when we come back, the conversation will continue. Do stay.
All right, thank you for staying with us. And if you're just joining, you're watching Daybreak, reaching you live from the nation's capital in Abuja, right from TrustTV's headquarters here. Now, we are discussing insecurity with security consultant Stephen Okore, and he's given us perspectives on the rise in cases of insecurity in the country. Now, we are talking about the nexus between, politics and security. In 2015, we'll take the classical example of the election in 2015. Majority of Northerners at the time believed that the person of the president is the right man for the job, looking at his track record. I mean, he's a retired general, he's a man of integrity, I mean, he's going to fight corruption, headstrong and all of that. These were the arguments at the time, and so people, came out en masse and voted for the man they think is right for the job. But today, the reverse is the case. The northern part of the country is the worst hit when it comes to insecurity and all of that. in that sense, what do you think went wrong? The people are not enjoying the dividends of democracy. What went wrong? Is it the man or the system?
I would say the two, the man and the system. Why I said the two is that both the man and the operators of the system are human beings. The system cannot work in isolation. They are piloted by human beings that are Nigerians. But I want to say that it's a different ball game when you are out of government and you are aspiring to come into government, or when you are in opposition and you want to come into government. Now, when you come to government after aspiring, you begin to play politics and otherwise. Because you need to survive. You need to remain on your seat as president. So there's usually this conflicting interest that plays out. People that you don't want to fail them when they put certain requests to you. For instance, if somebody that contributes or contributed to his election nominated somebody to be chief of army staff, for instance, because at that level, you know, all these appointments are political. And the chief of army staff is not performing very well. Taking a big stick to take a decision, a decisive decision by sacking the chief of army staff, for instance, he won't be able to do that. Because in trying to do that, he begins to think of the person, the political juggernaut or something that nominated or suggested to the president that I want this XYZ general to be chief of army staff. He begins to think of the person. If I do this, how will the person feel? He doesn't want to hurt the person.
But the lives of Nigerians are involved here.
You see, that's
so what is at stake and what's more important?
What is important is the lives of Nigerians, you know, because you have taken or sworn to an oath to protect lives and property of citizens of this country.
But it looks like when any government representative who has the interest of the people at heart does not have the ability to survive Nigeria's political harsh environment.
Exactly, they don't have. So they want to see how to balance it, but in the process of trying to balance it, it's a wrong decision. So we need leaders that will take decisive decisions, that have that political will. Because whether we like it or not, issues bordering on security, the buck stops at the president's table. If the National Security Advisor is not doing his job the way he expects him to do, what is wrong with letting him go? Let another person come on board. And it's applicable to other heads of security agencies that we have. You see, it's a situation where you have heads of security agencies and like 99% of them come from the north. I don't think it's something that is palatable to hear. The DSS head is from the north, customs head is from the north, immigration from the north, police from the north.
Do you think that that's a problem? In terms of, I mean, if you look at some of the arguments that have been made by the presidency is that, look, there are hierarchies in these systems, in these structures, and people have given their lives to the service of that institution, for years, and then it became, it became a time when they are supposed to ascend. Would you just take them out simply because of where they are coming from? These are some of the arguments that have been raised. So how important is that really in this?
Haven't you seen where somebody is supposed to be head of the army or the navy or the air force or the police was not picked from amongst the people that were supposed to be picked, and they went beneath them, and the other ones were forcefully retired? So it's a political appointment. So anybody can assume that position. Since this present government came on board, we've had these issues of majority of them from the north.
And we also have the issue of...
And that is why we're not getting results. We should look out the other way.
There's also the issue of the fact that, well, these are the most affected. These are the people most affected by the insecurity in the country. So perhaps they have a better insight or better understanding of what the situation is, you know, in their communities and all of that. So is that an argument that it should hold any water for you?
You expect the argument to hold water? Are you seeing result? The fact that they have better insight about their environment or terrain because they come from the north, are we seeing result? The north is the worst hit. I feel that there are certain things that are happening because you are from the community. So when you want to take decisive action against your people, you begin to pull back. So I feel that we should try and see how to balance it.
Okay, so are you saying if there was diversification, you know, in these appointments, the situation would have turned out different?
It's very possible, very likely. And that's why I said there's need for us to see how to appraise the situation so far and try and see how to re-strategize and see how to go about it. So if we're not getting results, because as far as I'm concerned, the security situation in the north, we're not getting results at all. And everybody, all these people are from the north. So what is it they're not doing? Why are they not doing it? Why are they not fixing the situation in the north? So we should look out somewhere. Perhaps if you bring somebody from the east or from the south to head some of these agencies that we're talking about, is a way of changing strategy as well.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on the program and sharing your perspectives with us. We'll round up the discussion here. We've been speaking with Stephen Okore, a security consultant, and giving us perspectives on recent trends of insecurity in the country. Thank you for coming. We look forward to having you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.